I've actually been loving Pro Cycling Manager recently, so welcome back to our career mode. Our last episode was pretty fantastic, doing proper at Tirreno Adriatico, but a victory, a monument victory at Milano Sanremo with Lukas Kubic. That was crazy. Now, in today's episode, we'll continue World Tour racing with the Volta Catalunya and some one-day races in Belgium. But first, we have to take a look at some admin. First of all, I forgot to mention last week that Milano Sanremo was a sponsor objective and we actually won it, so a super success. And actually, on the same topic of sponsors, we've got a sponsorship contract with Sirocco expiring at the end of the season. And of course, if we don't extend with Sirocco or replace that sponsor, then we will have less money next year, 500k less. But I do bring some good news. Sirocco is coming to the table with an extension offer, a 2-year contract in which if they are the main sponsor, they'd give us 1.4 million. But if Sirocco becomes the main sponsor of our team, then Dacia becomes the second sponsor and we'd lose 270k. And if we take a look on the right, we can change the sponsor position of Sirocco to secondary sponsor and they'd offer us 965k, so 400k less. Now you're welcome to check me on this, but I think that means that Sirocco being first sponsor and Dacia second sponsor is the best possible deal for us. And actually we can see that on the signature screen. Dacia first sponsor is less money, so Sirocco main sponsor is the choice. There we go. After extending with Sirocco, our bank is gonna be 600k richer next year, so that's pretty fantastic. And actually, if you didn't know, Sirocco is also the sponsor of this series. Sirocco is a cycling clothing company that makes quality cycling kit for an affordable price. For example, their Aspen and Kaufman bib shorts are perfect for shorter rides, especially for beginners who don't want to spend 200 euros for a bib short. And for longer rides, I use their SRX Elite bib shorts, basically their highest level bib shorts, and they're still affordable. Back in 2024, I finished the Paris-Roubaix Sportive with these bib shorts without a single saddle sore. That's when you know they're pretty good. Anyway, if you like what you see, you can now get 10% off any Sirocco products through the link in the description or using code BenjiNasen. Check out Sirocco. Okay, I think it's time to do some racing. I think it's time to start Volta Catalunya. And the race starts off with a very fun first stage, punchy and a downhill finish. After that, a mountaintop finish on Volta 2000 and a multi-mountain stage with the Portenay climb at the finish on day 3. And that's actually a pretty tough climb. Stage 4 then is a generic sprint stage, while stage 5 is more of a versatile sprint. But I love the design of stage 6 with a monster of a mountain, the Col de Pradelle in the middle with, look at the steepness, up to 16%, and a medium mountain finish on the Santuari de Queralde, which is also quite steep again. That is a lovely stage. And as always, the race finishes with the Barcelona-Montjuic circuit, which usually is a versatile sprint. Now, I did bring Matthias Kopecky for those versatile sprints, and also Lorenzo Finn for GC, so we should be pretty good in this race. But of course, the competition is also pretty solid at bike riding. Visma Lease bike arrives with Florian Lipovic, Nordhagen, Carapaz and Uitenbroek, so a monster team. And Lenny Martinez, whose stats are getting quite good for Bahrain Victorious. While Juan Ayuso is here for UAE Team Emirates. Like, the competition is serious, but I do think a podium should be our goal. But I think PCM is predicting stage 1 a bit wrongly. Richard Carapaz, I'm sorry, but Kopecky is winning this. I just noticed that most of my team is in a fitness peak, and in the race we can see that. +1 on Kopecky, so 76 hill stat with 75 sprint. To be honest, with those stats, the final climb should be easy. Okay, we are on the climb, 7.8 kilometers at 4%, so not the hardest climb in the world, but Kopecky is not exactly looking great either. Closing in towards the top, and we are still well positioned, so that is great. Kopecky will survive. I try to recover as much as possible in that descent, but now a small bump before the downhill to the line, so Fernandez is trying to get us over this, now on 99 over the top to get in a good position. 3.5 kilometers to go. I think I'll go with Finn already, I might as well. There comes the sprint. We've got Serrano in the wheel and Kopecky in that wheel, so Serrano can launch because it's still downhill. Kopecky in a perfect position. Lots of riders of our team at the front, but I will wait to launch as long as, well, actually, there's a roundabout here, so I think we're gonna win this quite easily, but Finn might actually win this. How is this possible? How is Lorenzo Finn winning this? I did not expect that. I'm telling you, that is all because of the roundabout. Like, I was super confident I would win that stage with Matthias Kopecky, but winning with Lorenzo Finn is even better. Especially because next to taking the lead, we also take bonus seconds with Finn, so 4 to 10 seconds ahead. That's a pretty perfect start to Catalunya. Also a pretty buggy start, but I'll try to ignore that. Anyway, stage 2 is gonna be a bit tougher, a mountain finish on Volta 2000, with as the favorite Lenny Martinez. But I think our plan is pretty simple, all in for Lorenzo Lorenzo Finn. Okay, I'm not exactly feeling that fitness peak on this stage, a -1 on Finn, so only 76 mountain. But it's not exactly the hardest climb, so I'm hoping I can just hang on. Oh snap, quite literally, because the peloton has snapped and there's a gap of 1 minute 20 and riders are dropping one by one, so 60 riders left. But of course, because of the split in the peloton, the tempo on the flat here is pretty significant and Finn's struggling a little bit. Like on paper, it's a 10-kilometer climb, but right now it's already slowly but surely going uphill, so I'm already suffering a bit. I'm calling this a fake news climb. Oh, I'm trying to do the bare minimum in energy 77 effort as we speak and completely at the back of the group. The final climb has officially not even started yet and my energy is 1/3 of my yellow bar. I think we're doomed. But now the climb is starting, now we are on the steeper segment, so the draft is less important, so I can do my own tempo a little bit here, so that's what I'll do. 7.7 kilometers to go, properly off the back of the peloton right now, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. In the meanwhile, 3 minutes ahead, we've got a 4-man lead, O'Connor, Ayuso, Rodriguez, and Martinez, but I am getting cooked with 4 kilometers to go, and I simply don't have energy. The flat before the climb ruined me. Anyway, the friend of the race in the last kilometer, Ayuso on the left side of the road, Martinez on the right side of the road, and I think it's gonna be Lenny Martinez or Ayuso? It's gonna be Martinez, I think. Yes, indeed, he's the winner. And there comes our man, completely empty, finishing, I don't know where, 16th on almost 5 minutes. That stage was an absolute disaster. Like, after the stage went on day 1, I was living on a cloud, but that cloud has turned into torrential rain with a 16th place. Now 4 minutes and 38 seconds back in GC. That is horrible. And to be honest, if stage 2 was a bad stage for us, look at stage 3, a multi-mountain stage with even harder climbs. Once again, it's Lenny Martinez as the favorite, but I guess my goal is simply finding my way back to a potential top 10? Partially because I don't believe in breakaways in these 1-week races. Okay, there it is, our fitness peak is back, a +2 on Finn, so 79 mountain stat. I'm loving it. So you might remember that I said that I don't believe in breakaways in 1-week races. Well, there's 19 riders up the road. Yes, the peloton is keeping it at 2 minutes 35, so it's not dangerous yet, but a little bit scared. And actually, in that breakaway is Florian Lipovic, who lost 12 minutes the other day. That's crazy. Anyway, halfway the stage and the gap to the breakaway is down to 2 minutes 40, but I do expect that gap to go back up on the next climb, which the first portion of that climb is actually quite steep. But actually my plan is quite simple. I'll simply stay in the peloton and spend as little energy as possible. As always, I'm trying to keep my riders on the lowest possible effort but still be in the peloton, and so far it's working, but our position is terrible.
12 seconds later.
Okay, Pedrero, Fernandez and Noval have just been dropped, so I'm an idiot. Even on the second last climb, Lorenzo Finn is not that comfortable. Bro is literally, I've got one teammate left, Tercero. That's it. Honestly, at this pace, I think my man Finn will be isolated before the final climb even starts. Just about 1k to the top and Tercero is running out of energy right now, but he might be able to get over the top in the group and it looks like that's the case, so we've got one teammate. That's it. Anyway, at the foot of the descent, the break is 12 riders with a gap of 45 seconds on the peloton of 60 riders, including Finn and Tercero, so it's gonna be a tough final climb for us. So the last climb is about to begin, still a break of 12 riders up the road by a minute, and then the peloton of 63 riders, so let's try to move up a little bit. There we go, the climb is starting. Por Eni, 18.7 kilometers at 6.5%, so it's actually a pretty tough climb. I'm trying to micromanage my energy spendage now on 77. Tercero is still here, but his energy ain't gonna last too much longer. We've got Finn looking good still though, but still 12k to go. 8.2 kilometers to go, rider by rider. People are dropping down to 37 riders at the moment, and there's gonna be more dropping pretty soon because no attacks yet. But sadly, that is the end for Tercero, so Lorenzo Finn is isolated. Once again, lots of people dropping, and there come the attacks. I don't know who attacked, but it's 2 riders off the front, but I'm focusing on Finn. I have to. This might be the end for us. How many Visma riders are up there? 1 billion of them. Anyway, they're all done for, suddenly, so we're looking pretty solid for a top 10 in GC now, as long as we can keep this up for another 3 kilometers. There goes Juan Ayuso with an attack, Lenny Martinez on the back foot, so Ayuso is winning this stage, or Carlos Rodriguez, no, it's gonna be Ayuso. Finn is also in the last kilometer, so that's great, we can actually sprint because we have the energy, so that's gonna be a nice 8th place in this stage, so Lorenzo Finn, a lot better than yesterday. Like, I know I'm patting myself on the back, but I think I rode that last climb perfectly. I think I'm actually pretty happy with that outcome. 8th place is nice. But sadly, not enough for a top 10 in GC, so we have to do more work. We're still 50 seconds away from Marc Soler in 10th. By the way, Juan Ayuso is now leading the race. Not that I really care. Anyway, time to calm down and do a simple sprint stage. Against pretty doable competition, Paul Penouet is the best sprinter here. Of course, we've got Matthias Kopecky, so still a worse sprinter, but I'd like to fight for the win. Ooh, +1 on Kopecky, so 76 sprint, that's basically the same as Penouet, so I like it. Into the last 10 kilometers we go with a 5-man sprint train with obviously Kopecky at the back, but Lorenzo Finn being my third last man shows that I don't exactly have a great lead out in this race, but the other trains are going a little bit faster, so I'm getting a bit worried, but let's move up now if we can with Fernandez, but it's a bit chaotic. Ooh, it's actually downhill now, so Finn can go early with 4 kilometers to go, and we are so far behind, so this is not great, but I'll start sprinting with Finn. Is that crazy? I'll do it anyway. There we go. Serrano in the wheel, then Kopecky in last wheel. This was a fantastic move. Look at it. There goes Serrano with 1.7 kilometers to go. Kopecky is ready to launch pretty soon. Right now on the uphill segment, then Kopecky looks pretty good, but Lamperti and so forth do as well, and they've got the upper hand. It's Sam Bennett in 2026? Crazy victory. But I must say, I was hoping for a bit better than a 6th place on this sprint stage, you know? Especially with such good daily form. But I think Kopecky will get a second, technically third chance in this 5th stage because this looks like a versatile sprint. Despite the relatively unknown Matisse van Kerkhoven with 78 Hillstad being the favorite. I'm sorry, but that's not happening. I'm sorry, a +2 on Kopecky is super welcome, but a +1 on his sprint stat, that's only crumbs, come on! Anyway, it will have to do. Gotta say, this climb is a bit harder than I expected, but still with 77 Hillstad, it should not be a problem. There we go, over the top, that is what I needed. Now we gotta move ourselves to the front again. Gotta say, it actually did not take that long, but we're back at the front of the peloton, so perfection. There we go, last 7.5 kilometers and a perfect sprint train on the rails for Kopecky, so can't wait. Looks like lots of roundabouts as well, so Finn will be the next rider to launch pretty soon, which that's fine. We've got some moves on the right by Total Energy for Retailleux. Let's wait and launch right now before this roundabout to have the first position. Serrano is next, launching right now. That's maybe a bit early, so I might be doomed here. Kopecky with barely any red in the last kilometer, and we are cooking the competition, so easy victory. Absolutely easy. That is beautiful. Matthias Kopecky takes a win. But I think it's fair to say that this victory was a lot prettier than the first one with Finn. Anyway, 2 stage wins so far, so I'm happy. But I would still like to move up into that top 10 with Finn, but is it possible? I don't know. Okay, I must confess, I completely forgot about this stage, so yes, I do think it's possible. This climb in the middle, the Col de Pradel, is super steep in the second half, but it's also in the middle of the stage, so it might be a bit passive. Then again, the final climb is also pretty hard. But the only thing I care about is moving up 2 positions in GC with Finn. In the words of Benji Nassen a few episodes ago, ooh la la, Lorenzo Finn's daily form, +2 on the day, so 79 mountain stat, 81 medium mountain, so that is welcome. But there's so many riders trying to get in the breakaway to the point that I'm actually helping control the peloton because I don't want a 20-man breakaway. And the nice thing about controlling a breakaway is that you don't need to pace all out, you just gotta pace hard enough to make sure riders get in trouble in the breakaway, like Boissy and Plus, who are dropping. To be honest, my plan for today was hoping for a passive race and just trying to jump 2 positions upwards in GC, but it is so tempting to simply go all out on this middle climb. It looks so incredibly steep that I could blow up the race or blow up myself. But I reckon it would be fun if I tried something there, you know? Okay, the steep climb, the Col de Pradel, is starting, 12.6k at 8%, but that's a fake news climb. The second half is so much steeper. But am I going to attack? I've not decided yet. Just before the steep section, the breakaway of 16 riders has 3 minutes 20 on the peloton, so it's still relatively under control, and I'm actually pacing in the peloton with Samuel Fernandez. Okay, it is time. The steep part has begun. Noval and Fernandez are pacing on 85. Let's make that 87. Finn is well positioned, that is nice, but the peloton is still 116 riders. That is insane. Anyway, Noval can sit up pretty soon. Fernandez is done for, so automatic. Noval is basically done for as well. Finn and Tercero move up towards the front with the help of Pedrero, and I'm just gonna do it. Why not? There we go. Small attack. Now Tercero goes into protection mode if possible, but he's probably gonna drop off the back, but I've got a small gap on a peloton of 100 people. This is such a stupid plan. Tercero is officially off the back, so I might as well wait on the group behind here. Finn has a gap of roughly half a minute. It's a long way to go to the breakaway, so this is such a stupid idea. The peloton is cracking into pieces behind Finn into a group of 24 riders with still Tercero here, but I'm also losing ground on that group because I'm having to go 65 to try and recover as much as possible here. Just about halfway to descend on a bump at the moment, still 3 minutes behind the breakaway with 50 seconds on this 45-man peloton. What am I doing? I should wait on the peloton, this is useless. I guess sometimes the most fun strategy is not the smartest. But I'm actually recovering quite quickly with Finn in this descent, so that's good, but the next climb, the Sant Isidre climb, is actually quite steep as well, especially at the bottom. Here we go, 11+% at the foot of this climb, but we are very well positioned, so that is great, and Tercero is still present, so absolutely brilliant. This breakaway does still have 2 minutes 30 at the moment, so I'm not sure we're gonna catch these guys. Come on, Tercero. 1 kilometer to the top, your red bar is empty, but you do have yellow, so I think you'll survive. Oh, a proper crash in the descent, including Ayuso and also Carapaz, so top 10 riders down, but hey, I'm just gonna keep on cruising. They are just about a minute behind, so let's subtly put Tercero at the front of the peloton. What is sportsmanship anyway? On to the final climb we go in the wheel of Tercero, 6k of climbing, so it's not the longest climb, but gotta make sure I keep enough yellow bar for that. 50 seconds on the group with Ayuso, so a proper gap. The breakaway is fighting for the stage win, but I don't care. Behind I've got Mr. Finn trying to set a tempo in the group, but Bernal is doing it faster, so I guess I'm just staying in the wheel. I am literally having to go 88 to follow the group though, so this tempo by Bernal is literally so high. Into the last kilometer, running out of red bar as we speak, which is not great, but trying to catch up with this group of Martinez, and that is where we will finish. But who is the winner? Marco Brenner wins for Trek into the final stretch now. 500 meters to go. Everybody is out of red bar, which is fine, so we might as well start sprinting. There we go, finishing nicely within the top 22 roughly, but most importantly, G. Sivakov may be on a gap for the top 10, but Nordhagen as well. And Ayuso, was that Ayuso? Yes, that was Ayuso. I think he lost like 2 minutes 20, so we definitely won't pass him in GC, but he's gonna lose the lead at Catalunya. Turns out we do finish in the top 20, exactly 20th, but more importantly, moving up from 12th place into the perfect position, 10th. Yes, we've got our top 10. And actually, Marc Soler, who rode for Ayuso after he crashed, is one of the riders that we passed in GC, so riding with Tercero at the front to make sure Ayuso stayed behind was effective. And by the way, Ayuso did lose his lead by 33 seconds on Lenny Martinez. I am so happy with that top 10. Okay, that brings us to the final stage of Catalunya, the Montjuic circuit, basically 6 times the Montjuic climb, and the favorite is the fallen soldier, Juan Ayuso. That said, I think I could potentially win this with Matthias Kopetzky. So yeah, let's give it a try. Okay, 45 kilometers to go in this race. The hill zone is starting. We've got +2 on Kopetzky, so 77 hill stat. Ooh la la! I've already got my train set up, but I'm actually not doing much. I'm simply keeping my team at the front on every climb. By the way, a bit of a shout out to the stage makers in the Pro Cycling Manager community, because I swear this stage has been remade by someone. I've never seen it this pretty. And actually my positioning train is catching the breakaway and also splitting the peloton. There's a group of 50 riders off the front with 2 climbs to go, so let's keep pushing right now. There goes Noval on 95. And actually, another split in the peloton. Now it's 22 riders at the front of the race, so we're cooking something up. On the final climb now, multiple riders trying to make a move. Bjerg, Carapaz, Ayuso as well, but I've got myself well positioned with my entire train. Kopetzky is looking fantastic. Samuel Fernandez over the top, 99. There we go. That is perfection. Tercero, buddy, you're done for. I'll focus on 3 riders. That's enough work anyway. NSGL on Kopetzky is a bit too late, I think, but I gotta be ready because there's a bump coming right here. Let's launch on this small bump. We've got Quickstep doing the same, but Finn is now in the wheel, can launch at 2 points. It's too early. I think I'm launching too early, but it is a descent, but I think I might be cooked. 1.7k to go. Maybe that's okay. 1k to go, I'll just launch with Kopecky, and I don't think they'll be able to pass me. It's gonna be a victory for my man once again. Matthias Kopecky with his hands in the air. Third victory at Catalunya. There we go, once again on the podium. Then again, beating Lesser and Bilbao in a sprint is not exactly a top level cycling, but Matthias Kopecky, I'm still happy. Lenny Martinez is the winner in GC, but a small change as well because Lorenzo Finn is not 10th, he's 9th. So we moved up one position in GC. And of course, not a surprise, but Matthias Kopecky is taking home the points classification. I think it's fair to say that was a super successful Catalunya with 3 stage wins. And also an okay top 10 in GC. I was maybe hoping for more, but we suffered a lot in the early mountain stages. I want to put stage races to the side for a second and focus on classics. Starting off with the E3 Saxo Classic. Basically a mini RVV with Mathieu van der Poel as the favorite, also Wout van Aert. I think our leader is most likely Samuel Watson with 76 cobble, because I'm not sure Lukas Kubic will survive this parkour. It is harder than Omloop Nieuwsblad, you know? Okay, I am liking this. A +2 on Watson, so 79 cobble stat, 77 hill stat. Hopefully we can get a good result with that. The second half of this race is about to begin, and this small red cobble climb in the middle, that is the Taaienberg. That's where the actual action begins in real life, but on Pro Cycling Manager, I'm not sure. The calmer the race, the better for me. There we go, in a pretty perfect position at the foot of the Taaienberg, and I don't think there will be splits on this climb because the tempo in the peloton is not actually that high. And sure, there's still plenty of cobble climbs to come, but I'm starting to believe in the fact that Kubic might survive this parkour. Okay, just as I say that, Jonathan Milan attacks together with Kilich, Ballerini and Livijn, so pretty solid riders. I think I'm just gonna stay calm in the peloton. I'll let the big teams take care of the attacks and I'll just hope that everything comes together later. We're now on the Eikenberg, but I gotta improve my positioning because we're now in 50th position. That is too far back. There we go, in a good position in a train formation now with Watson not too far back because the last couple of riders in a train always suffer a bit more. Mathieu van der Poel, I am looking at you and you're moving up, and are you attacking? No, you're attacking. Okay, you are attacking. Erzen, that's your job. And there we go. Other teams have taken care of that Mathieu van der Poel attack. So let's get Zak Erzen back to the front and let's keep control. Only a few bergs still to come, so we're looking pretty solid. But actually, riders like Milan are still present in this group, so I gotta try and hammer it on the Paterberg, and I think the Oude Quaremont afterwards. There we go, onto the Paterberg with Erzen on 99, but he's moving like a slug, so it's not too impressive. But now onto the Oude Quaremont just after with Schwarzbacher on 99 as well, and now it's time for Watson to push. Kubic in the wheel, Omerzel is there as well, so Omerzel trying to protect as much as possible, but he is suffering. There goes Mathieu van der Poel over the top, but we are in the group with Watson, but Kubic is right off the back. That's a bummer, but Watson is there, so let's try to collaborate here. But the gap is actually pretty prominent to the front. We've got 5 riders now up here, actually 8 riders. Biffy is catching up together with Laurens Rex, Del Grosso, Kilich, Livijns. Watson is struggling to follow the attack of Laurens and Van der Poel, so should have been on the wheel. Damn it. But actually, change of situation. Watson is getting caught by the group with Kubic, so it's looking like it might become a sprint. And yes, Mathieu van der Poel and Laurens have been caught as well. There goes Van Aert now with a proper gap imminently, but I've got nothing, so I gotta hope that it comes together. Just about 17k to go. Wout van Aert attacks again just before getting caught, so the gap is now 13 seconds, but the Lee is trying to close it. Kubic is protecting Watson because Kubic was basically almost out of energy, but 17 people in this group and I'm still here, but with barely any energy. Sure, the last 9.5 kilometers are completely flat, but I do expect some attacks in the last couple of Ks here. There goes Wout van Aert again, and who's gonna respond to that? Lots of riders. I gotta try and make sure I can follow, but it looks like that might be a gap that might stick. Come on, guys. Close down the attacks. There we go, 4.7k, and once again caught, but I've got no yellow bar. Literally no yellow energy, so I'm cooked. I'm so incredibly cooked. Let me try and get in the wheel of Lawrence Piffy maybe, but there is simply no way I can compete here. I'm out of energy. Oh snap, the Astana rider is empty. Why am I not sprinting? Why is my keyboard not working? Okay, my keyboard is back, but I'm definitely not winning. It's gonna be Laurence Piffy ahead of Ballerini, and maybe a top 10 for us, I hope? Like, I could choose to blame this keyboard, but I think it didn't make a difference, to be honest. A pretty strong race by Watson and the team, but in the end, he was simply out of energy. But hey, I'm happy with my top 10. I think there's space for one more classic in this video. The always wonderful Gent-Wevelgem with the echelons in the Moeren, the Kemmelberg multiple times, and a potential sprint at the finish. And apparently Mes Pedersen as the favorite together with Jonathan Milan, Jasper Philipsen, Van der Poel. What a list. But I think they forgot to mention Samuel Watson or Lukas Kubiš, because I actually low-key believe in a podium here. But I will most likely already be happy with the top 10, to be honest. We've got Samuel Watson with a 0 day, so that is 77 cobblestat, 73 sprint, and Mr. Kubiš with a -1. Ouch! Not exactly the daily form I was looking for. So, the peloton is about to enter the Moeren, the echelon segment of this race, and I've got myself relatively well positioned, but I forgot to get water, so Zak Erzen, you're gonna have to hurry. Actually, the echelon segment does not have too much wind, only 15 as we can see on the left bottom, so Erzen brought water to the front quite easily. But now the wind is slowly but surely picking up, 29-30 roughly, but I don't think it's gonna be too devastating to the peloton here. We're now in the third big echelon zone and the wind is once again not that high, but my riders are still suffering. Look at Omerzel. He's like 1/3 of his yellow only. This stuff is undoubtedly gonna hurt the peloton later in the race. But sadly, so far, only 3 riders off the back, so very uneventful. Anyway, I guess we're starting the climb zone with a pretty full peloton. But actually, even the first few cobble climbs were completely unselective. Still 145 people in the peloton with 70k to go. 2 times the Kemmelberg to go. Onto the Monteberg we go with our team in a perfect position, catching the breakaway at the moment. And now onto the Kemmelberg, but I'm kind of getting blocked in, so Alvarez and Dizdarevic are not able to really push over the top, or maybe that's just the limit of his abilities. Now in the middle of the second hill zone, just the Baneberg and the Kemmelberg to go, and I'm pushing myself in the peloton to try and make it a bit harder so we don't have to sprint against pure sprinters. An attack by Bob Jungels in the peloton, but Omerzel is pacing just behind him, but I'm waiting to give it all out for the next climb. Here we go, on the Kemmelberg, the Ossuaire side, Omerzel going 99 on the steepest portion, and hopefully we can split it over the top. That is kind of the plan. This descent is so steep that the peloton simply has to split right here. I feel it. Yes indeed, splits in the peloton, 20 people in the front echelon. We've got Omerzel and Erzen pacing, Watson and Kubiš sitting in. Come on team, come on group, work with me. Ay, Omerzel is done for, Erzen is done for, and we've got no one pacing in this group, so that is terrible. That is so sad. So with 19k to go, Erzen and Omerzel off the back, Kubiš and Watson are left in a group of 26 riders, but Van der Poel has a gap, lots of riders trying to attack towards him, but I don't really have the energy to launch towards that. But then again, no one is pacing in this second group. Come on guys, don't give up. I'm having to spend Watson to chase down this first group, but I think I'm gonna have to sprint for a top 10 position. I can't do much more. Such a disappointing final. And instead of working with us, Wout van Aert decides to attack towards the front, but I cannot respond to that. There goes Philipsen. Lots of riders trying to do the same. I don't have much energy, but I'll try to do the same myself with Kubiš. Does that work? And now they're gonna pace behind me? Okay, no they don't. Good. I'm gonna pace now with Kubiš on 65 and hope I can stay ahead, but there comes another attack by Ben Turner, but the gap is 20 seconds, so please Kubiš, hold it for 2.5 kilometers. Okay, the Watson group is completely sitting up, so it looks like we're gonna get a top 10, but the winner is Laurence Piffy, ahead of Niels Pollitt and Mathieu van der Poel, but I think Piffy won E3 as well. Crazy. Anyway, the only thing I care about is Lukas Kubiš finishing in 9th place, so I've got my top 10. Like sure, we're not exactly shooting tiles from the rooftop, but a top 10 in every classic is far better than last year, where we literally had to skip the classics because Kopecky was injured. And the fact that Kopecky's not even doing the classics and we're still getting results shows the growth of the team. I think that's what I'm most proud about. Anyway, a really successful episode results in still a 2nd place in the UCI World Tour ranking. Almost 6,000 points. It's funny because last season we were literally on the brink of relegation for most of the season, but right now, in April, we're basically completely safe. And I think we can once again be pretty successful in the next episode with Dwars door Vlaanderen, Itzulia, Paris-Roubaix, some fun races. But I am afraid that's the end of today's video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye!